Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Christopher Morales, that one Bond guy, and today, buckle up, grab a martini, because we're embarking on an adventure and talking and debriefing all about Mission 25, my birthday celebration in London, UK, all around music, community, the adventures. There's aplenty, but I can't do this by myself. I'm gonna need some help. So let's hop on over and see if I can get some backup, and we're gonna dive right into this.
Now pay attention, 007. I've always tried to teach you two things. First, never let them see you bleeding.
And the second?
Always have an escape plan.
So as promised, I have a amazing guest. You know him, you love him. Chris, the bearded Blofeld, the other Chris out of so many Chris's I've discovered on this weekend. The Bond Report with me. We're going to dissect this trip. We're going to talk about memories, but I am so thrilled and honored to have him on because he and I actually worked quite a bit together on this trip. We bunked together and oh yeah, after 3 years of talking online, this was the first time we met in London. Chris, thanks for joining me, and I'm excited to talk about London. How are you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. I'm actually traveling a little bit, so that's why you're seeing me kind of out in nature. But I didn't want to miss out on talking to you and having this conversation because I've really looked forward to talking about. I'm going to go ahead and say it was the trip of my life.
Yeah.
It was the best trip of my life. So, yeah, thanks for having me on.
Well, I will say you look very properly well dressed for the outdoors, very British. And funny enough, we're wearing similar looking hats, which we'll get into a little bit later. Yours looks
That's right.
phenomenal.
We're
Um,
quite stylish.
Definitely. I mean, and then of course I have this. There we go. There you go, Chris. This side of kind of a representation of also what we're going to be talking about later, because it kind of all culminated around this wonderful band. I remember us talking about this beginning of this year. It was going to be my 25th birthday year, and I wanted to do something huge. And so I reached out to you, and you were as enthusiastic and excited as I was with the idea of being in London for my 25th. And then all of a sudden, bomb drops. We get the Money Penny, cue the music show, concert spectacular. It almost was like it was meant to be, right?
Yeah. It was, we had already kind of planned this out a little bit. And then hearing that was just like, the cherry on top
Yeah.
of the already amazing birthday Sunday.
Let me tell you guys, after you watch this video, you're gonna probably be just as exhausted as we were when we got back to the States because we did a lot. But I'll start off with day one. I mean, it was a Tuesday. I left on a Tuesday evening in California, and I didn't arrive into London until Wednesday, almost 24 hours later. So it was kind of the time change, but super simple, easy couple flights for me, no problem. I actually had a lot of space on my flight, a whole row at one point when I flew from Sacramento to Denver. So I got to,
So jealous.
it was
So
so
jealous.
awesome. And then actually the middle seat for the long haul trip to London was unoccupied. So there was a lot more room there. So I was already the trip was starting off fantastic. We got to the airport, and our first individual I met was Mike. He and I have been on many adventures together, and then we were all kind of culminating at the airport the same day around the same time. So we just hung out there for a minute. Shout out, you'll hear this gentleman's name more than once on this video, but Zafran, because he actually waited for our group to get to Heathrow, and he actually guided us from Heathrow to the airport or to the hotel. And I mean, he got there early, waited, and I've known Zafran for a while. I actually met him in 2022 for the first time for my first Q the Music concert, which was supposed to be their farewell concert. He was really more or less a guide. He was our guide throughout, not just London, but through the
Yeah.
countryside.
Yeah. To the countryside and everything. Yeah. Shout out, huge shout out to
Mhm.
Zafran. Like, love this dude so much. He's like a brother from another country. He really, he took hospitality and turned it up to 10.
Oh yeah.
I cannot emphasize that cannot be overstated how kind and generous he was with his time, with everything. He rented a car.
Hmm.
He took us on a great tour of the countryside. He assisted in us getting kicked out of Pinewood Studios.
Yes, yeah.
I
A,
mean,
a memory, a
if
memory
he
we'll
wouldn't have
never
driven us
forget.
there, yeah, if he would have driven us there, we would have got kicked out. I'm
That
just
is
saying.
very true. Now we waited for Chris to finally arrive because we were in different terminals and we were kind of confused and we were confused on the timing. So we actually waited about, I don't know, an hour, 45 minutes. He finally showed up and it was like, you're a real person. We were
I
so
know.
excited. And I think too, you were able to capture a little bit of the moment when we first met, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, I have got to pull the footage because I've got so much footage to go through from this trip.
Oh,
But yes, I borrowed a pair of Meta AI glasses from my boss, the Ray-Ban ones, and I was able to record me walking up to you for the first time, handshakes, hugs all around, and just like that energy of like, you're my friend, you're real. Look at these two guys.
Oh my god.
What's going on, man?
What is up?
How you doing, buddy?
Oh my god. Get it.
I know, right? to finally make it happen.
I don't want to act like a Taylor Swift fangirl, but oh
That's
my
okay,
god,
man.
dude.
Good to see you, man. Yeah, in the flesh. What's going on, brother?
Mike, Chris,
Nice to meet you, man. Yeah, good to see you.
Zach friends grabbing some coffee over there. We were just about to think about getting something to do real quick because their next port of call would be Duke's, and we don't want to do that on an episode.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah.
hold on,
Like,
hold
oh
on,
my
hold on.
God.
Hold on. Isn't it wild to think that, we've been talking for what, 3, 4 years. We planned from San Diego with Love together through a screen, and
Yeah.
that was the first time we met. I mean,
It
it was
was,
just insane. I felt like it was definitely a pinch me moment, and I feel like a lot of people in the Bond community can relate because when they either meet somebody or a group for the first time, I mean, there's just that instant connection.
if you don't travel a lot, travel can be stressful. There's a lot of like what ifs. There's a lot of, oh my God, is the room going to be okay? Is this card going to go through?
Right,
And
right.
so when you're traveling in a foreign country, it can be a pretty big stress factor. And brother, you made it as stress free as I possibly could have imagined. So seriously, it was so great to do it with you. I would love to travel with you again.
We kicked off the trip on a very high note because that same evening we ended up at Duke's, my first time ever going to Duke's,
Me
and
too.
only could have been possible, only could have been possible by Mr. Fletcher of the Essence of Bond on Instagram.
Yes.
He was able to set up the reservation. We were able to get there at a time where Alessandro was making the drinks, and again, all these pictures and images you'll see of our experience. Alessandro was there, and he did the whole spiel of the history of the actual Vesper and how no, and this is for the record, no, he did not serve Ian Fleming because if he did, he would have been serving or shaking a milk bottle. I remember that story because he was
Right,
a
right,
baby.
right.
So there's stories and stuff out there that says Alessandro served Fleming. That's not true. He made that
No.
clear that night. But nevertheless, his stories and his storytelling and just his personality and character. I don't want to spoil too much because if you haven't been to Duke's, you need to go in person, meet Alessandro. It is definitely, I'm spoiled now because every time I have a Vesper, it's never going to match.
This week on my channel, I actually videoed a full interview with Alessandro where he walks you through that story of not serving Fleming. He walks you through the entire process of how he makes his Vesper martinis. And I ask him a special question that you're just going to have to go watch that video to check it out. But yes, an amazing event. Big shout out to Red Vesper Natasha with 007 GB. Mark, of course.
Views from Mark. I got
Thank you.
you.
Love you, Mark. I promise it wasn't intentional. um, he was great helping us get things going with that as well. And it is an experience. It is something, even if you go watch my video, if you don't watch it, I don't, yeah, that's irrelevant. The fact of the matter is being there in front of him, hearing the history, feeling the essence of the building, you gotta, it's a must go to. Like it's a destination spot if you're in London.
After that, I think we kind of lost ourselves in the cityscape in the evening. We said goodbye to our friends that we were going to see later. And funny enough, side story, the British Film Festival was going on. And we tried our very best to get as
We
close
did.
as possible. Um, without getting kicked out because we didn't want to make that the theme of the trip. uh,
Right.
but we got
Right.
pretty close to the premiere of the newest Knives Out mystery with Daniel Craig. He was
Yep.
actually there, and there's actually a lot of images of him wearing a really nice light gray suit, and he looked actually
Yeah.
really fantastic. We just missed him walking the red carpet because we were at Duke's while they were doing that whole thing, and then there was an
Yeah.
after party we tried to go to. Um, let's just say we got as far as to the door, and we'll just leave it at that. We did our very best of being sneaky Bond.
We did, but we did also meet a direct friend
We did.
of Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson. She was also a producer. Her and her husband, I believe her name was Liz, and his
Liz,
name was Colin. So
yes.
whoever those producers are, thank you for chatting with us on the way as we attempted to sneak in to that after.
The next day was all about relaxation because we came on Wednesday and we left Monday. So we wanted to spend a lot of time. I personally wanted to spend quite a bit of time doing non-touristy things. This was kind of a day that I reserved so we could all explore different part of England. We actually went to Gloucestershire. You guys can
Mhm.
correct me in the comments. I know you guys will. To go check out some filming locations. And I had that idea a long time ago because my mom really loves the show Father Brown, which is a show that you can, if you have BritBox, or I guess might have been on BBC. They just wrapped up season 13, which will be showing this next year. So we just missed the filming. They just left. But we got to go to the actual little village of Blockley. But along the way is, again, Zafran, who rented the car for us, took us from London to, we first stopped off at Stoke Park, which was amazing. Again,
Amazing.
we got as close as we could. Here's some images of us there hanging out. We found out that it was bought by a billionaire now, so it's getting private. It's getting private, a little bit more
Yeah.
stricter. But
Yeah, we
Zaf,
couldn't go in the front.
right, yeah, we couldn't go up front. Funny enough, though, I guess Aston Martin was there literally the same day doing some type of photo shoot, which we just missed,
Right.
of course. And then from Stoke Park, we went to Pinewood Studios, which Chris can indulge you in that story, and I'll let him do that real quick. Oh boy.
Yeah, we got to the Pinewood and we actually passed um what was it called? The forest in Goldfinger
Oh,
where
that's right.
Tilly
Yes.
Masterson was killed.
Right.
I
They filmed it there.
They did film it there.
Was
We
it
drove past it, but we didn't have
Black
time to
Park?
stop.
No.
Somebody will tell us down in the comments. But we drove past that, and we were excited because we had several stops to make that day. Uh, Bond locations, while they were yes on the list, the church and Father Brown, that was the goal that day. So it was kind of a bonus that we were able to see Stoke Park and then Pinewood. But we got to Pinewood and there were two entrances. One was kind of like a closed off gate. We got a picture. We'll throw that up here now, where all of us were standing at the gate. You can see Pinewood in the background through the gate, and then there's actually a drive up gate that Zephyrin was like, "We're going. Like, we're just going to try to get in." And so he drives right up to the gate, all the way around to this security guard shack. And he was very friendly. He was just like, look, hey, I've got some friends with me. They're from here from America. We just wanted to see if we might be able to like come on, come in for just a second, get some pictures, and we'll be out of here in like 5 or 10 minutes. He was very professional, very polite. And the guard was instantly like, absolutely not. Don't care. Sorry. Please turn around and leave. Like he was very blunt about it. And okay, so initially we're like, all right, fine. We're not here to cause a scene or nothing. But as we started to turn around, we noticed a couple parking spots that was just out of the view of that guard shack. So Zafran pulled in, me, Chris, and Mike hop out, and I could see it off in the distance. I was like, that's the 007 soundstage. It says the 007 Cubby Broccoli soundstage. And off to the left was the Sean Connery soundstage. But the angle we were at, it was like this. So it said Sean Connery going this direction. So you couldn't really see it. But I'm like, hey, if we go over here and we kind of jump this gate that's up here, there's no guard check by this gate. I'm just telling you, like we could just walk right around it. So that is exactly what we did. So we walk around this.
You're making it sound like the biggest. Of course.
But I mean, it was a good time.
It
And
was
like
good. Yeah.
you and Mike are both like, are we allowed to do this? I'm like, I don't care. It's happening. So
Yeah.
I keep walking.
I will say,
I
I
get
will
down
say,
there.
I will say this. I mean, everybody, I mean, I could tell instantly that we were gonna probably talk to a bit, but everybody was so respectful there. The gentleman that
Oh yeah,
actually told us that we gotta go now, he was
yeah.
very nice. I think I got a little excited because he did do the whole like, okay, we got him here, they're right here. But
Oh yeah.
when he did that, he did mention that these gentlemen are here. They're huge, massive James Bond fans from out of the country. They were wondering if they could take pictures. So I think he was kind of going up to bat for us to see if maybe possibly.
He
So
was. Yeah, he
totally,
had our back. It was
yeah,
just funny
totally,
because as soon as I got over to that area to
yeah,
take a picture of the Sean Connery, I'm literally like, okay, I got the shot, and click, hey, oh, and like
yeah,
there's the security guard.
yeah.
He's like, you guys can't be over here. Yeah, what are you doing over here? Oh, we'll just get a picture, man. He's like, well, you guys got to get out. But he was super cool. He did have to do his job, of course, and
Of
like kind
course,
of
yeah.
verify who we were, why we were there, and he very politely said, guys, okay, you've kind of pushed the boundaries. Let's go ahead and just I'm going to ask you to leave.
Yeah.
But we did, we complied and everything. But I will never forget that day.
Oh
Like
my
that.
goodness. I know. Well, whether we see another Bond film filmed there or not in the future, we can say we've been there. So then from there, we went to go to the church, which looked exactly like it did in the filming. And I mean, we walked into that church and we walked onto the grounds and you could almost feel the history there. I don't know about you, Chris, but when you walked in, you did an
Oh
amazing job, by the way. Check out the Bond Report's Instagram and you'll see a reel of the church that he took. And we even got the bells ringing, which was awesome timing. And you can
yeah.
kind of get an essence of exactly the history and what I'm talking about here. Of course, pictures here and whatnot. But a very important stop for me as, again, it was something near and dear to my heart, near and dear to my mom's heart. She was actually really hoping to come on this trip or do something kind of similar. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to do it due to surgery. So next best thing I was able to do was FaceTime her while I was there on the grounds, which was perfect.
When you watch the reel that I posted about the church, and I really hope you do. Um, a key thing about that, when we all walked in, and Chris, I don't know if you realize this because it was one of those unspoken things. We all walked in and we didn't say anything. None of us were talking for a solid almost like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We were all just walking around in awe and just silent, just like, oh my Lord.
Oh, it was
Like
gorgeous.
the grandiose and the history that is in that church. It was something like you would almost expect to see in downtown London or in New York City in one of the grand churches,
Hmm.
but it was just on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
And there were some really amazing carvings, some absolutely gorgeous stained glass murals all over the place. So please check that out because I'm telling you, and even if you don't check that out, look it up online. There's images as well.
We went, of course, we had to. We went to a pub, and what do we all have? We all had burgers, which I guess that's the American in us. But I mean, it was delicious. I don't know about you, Chris, but the burgers there at that pub, well, it was
Oh yeah,
traditional as a pub as you could get in the middle of the countryside.
the menu even was like extremely authentic. Uh, the whole building was, I mean, it was made out of like planks of wood in the ceiling.
Yeah.
I mean, it was,
Yeah.
you could tell this was not like some commercial building. This had been here for probably a solid century.
Oh yeah, and
And
then it was also too the pub
uh,
used film before filming in Father Brown too. It was just recently remodeled, so that's why when
yeah,
I walked in, I was like, I'm pretty sure this is the spot, but it looks different." They remodeled it since they filmed, so it
uh,
makes sense to why it looked different. But that was the pub that we
yeah.
had dinner in that night, and enjoyed our time in the countryside.
On the way home, I got to tell you, Chris, and you probably remember this, pheasants.
Oh,
Oh my God,
oh,
pheasants. They're like the countryside rat. They are everywhere. Like three of them almost caused us to get into an automobile accident. Like
more
they
than
would
once.
start
They had balls. They were running across the street when we were going
right in front of the car. Yeah, Zaffron's
20
driving,
miles an
like
hour. Yeah.
locking the brakes up. I was like, oh my Lord, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, sorry.
No, no. I mean, we had to mention the pheasants. On our way home, Zachary wanted to show us one last amazing spot, which is well known through, I don't know, the Harry Potter series, and that was the University of Oxford. So we stopped mainly just to see if we could, walk around, see some things, use the restroom, and ended up at another pub amongst, and mind you, this was this Thursday night, and it was packed. It was packed. People were also, I don't know if there was some type of gala or school
All
gala,
ages.
but there was tons of people dressed in tuxes, and the ladies in beautiful dresses, and they were all culminating around this, almost
Yeah.
like they were in their different schools, because I guess in Oxford there's different schools within the
Right.
school, so they all were like going with their groups to the pub. So it was getting packed, but it was really cool to see that side, because that's Oxford. It's like one of the most prestigious establishments in the world. So so many famous and relative people have come with education from there. So to kind of be in there, and just the architecture alone, I mean, man, that library, I'll throw an image right now. It's
Yeah.
wow.
Stunning. To,
Yeah.
to, to see it in person. And we were there, guys. We were at night. Like
Yeah.
by the time we made it to Oxford, sun was down. Like it wasn't even dusk. It was night. But the campus is so well lit that, I mean, you felt like you were walking in a city. In that pub we went in, we thought we were going to be there longer. So I ordered a pint.
Oh.
We were there for like 6 minutes and we're like, okay, we're leaving them. I got a full pint of it. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. It was like, oh, here we go.
So I slammed that pint and off we walked. So we went through all these things and then to finally like be there, it was like, okay,
Yeah.
we're going.
Yeah.
And we said that it was gonna, if we weren't careful, we were gonna blink and it was gonna be gone.
Yep.
And brother, it every single day, and everybody who was around us knows, we did not waste a single minute. And I gotta say it to Trent, because Trent was with us on this trip as well. Uh, what's his handle again? His
The
Instagram handle?
traveling bond on Instagram.
Thank you. Um, he said, because there was one point I was like, I'm gonna go home, guys. Like it's late. I've been out. I just want to go home. And Trent was like, we're on vacation. I will lose some sleep to make some memories.
Oh, I love
And
that.
I loved that. I was like, at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm not going home. That's it. He's right. I didn't come here to, and excuse my French, I didn't come here to bitch out
Yeah.
and like not experience every minute that I can with my friends. So
No
that was,
regrets throughout this trip at all. No regrets.
no, none, zero.
Now that brings us to Friday, which was more of the brand slash historical Bond connection part of exploring London. So things like Savile Row, where I got to go back and visit, of course, my home away from home, Huntsman, which was the store and used for the movie Kingsman. Got a really awesome tie, as well as an amazing, not a handkerchief. Let's be more classy. Pocket square
It's square. Yes.
with Eggsy, Taron Egerton's character, really gorgeous. They let us even take some pictures in the Kingsman room, and just
Yes.
really, really hospitable. We also visited places like Turnbull and Asser, which, hearing the history there, was fantastic. We even saw a wall with all of their clients that they signed pictures of, and of course there was a couple pictures of Daniel Craig and Pierce Brosnan, because they were the Bonds that were, more recent, that used their shirts. We also went to Sunspell, where we met up with Trent. And funny enough, that was when we first bumped into David Zertsky and Joe Darlington. Do you remember that? We were just
Oh yeah.
hanging
We
around.
were looking at the Thunderball set
Oh, yeah.
because in Globetrotter they had an actual spear gun
Yes.
in a like full Globetrotter case that you could purchase alongside of the Thunderball luggage set. And we're like looking at that, and the gentleman's talking with us. And shout out to all the staff there, man. Talk about hospitable. They were just as kind and as patient, and they wanted to show everything off. He brought out a whole Casino Royale like poker set that was in
Oh,
a
okay.
custom Turnbull and Nasser case. But while we're looking at this spear gun, all of a sudden I hear out of my left ear, God, I guess they'll just let anybody in here. And I turn and there's Ellington and David Zaritsky. We're
Yeah.
like, hey, what's
That
going
was
on,
so
guys?
good. That was so awesome.
Yeah, so it was
That's
cool that we were all kind of out seeing the brands that day.
Yeah, yeah, it was perfect timing, and what, like, to go back on the hospitality thing. Every store we went to, we did mention that, like, we were Bond fans, and obviously they could tell that we were American. but they were so
Yeah.
nice, and they let us, they went through history, they brought some things for us to look at.
Right.
um and every single staff member we went to, we hit a couple, went to Florist, and I got a couple goodies as well from Florist to restock my fragrance area. They were
Yeah.
really cool. And then there was one brand in particular, this is all kind of out of order to everybody, these are just
Oh
like
yeah.
places away, but the one brand in particular that's not even a James Bond brand, but it has all to do with the classic Peaky Blinder caps. Chris, do you kind of want to
Right.
explain how we got into that situation?
So at this point, we had met up with Trent.
Hmm.
Trent had come into town. He had got to the hotel, and he had kind of met us along the way. And we were just walking down the road. Like we had the London Bond map. Thank you,
Hmm.
Peter Brooker, for that. Uh, and like we had that, and we had kind of planned it out the night before. We're gonna go here, and then we're gonna go here, which is gonna lead us to that, which is gonna lead us to this. So we were making the best use of our time. And while we were on this kind of path, all of a sudden we walked past this store that had all these hats in it. And Trent was like, let's go into this store. This looks really cool. Is this where they make the Peaky Blinder hats?
Oh,
And you and me were kind of like, no, I don't think so. We don't need to go there. And we turned around
that's right. Yeah.
and we started to walk back. And he was like, wait a minute. And I don't know if somebody pulled it up on their phone. I think it was Mike, actually. Mike pulled it up on
That's
his
right.
phone. Yo, guys, this is the Peaky Blinders brand. This is Layered,
Yep.
which I'll go ahead and show my horrible hat here, but
Oh, me too. It's over.
that is the brand. Yeah.
Yep.
So, like, yeah. And we got in there and we had these two just very hospitable, down to earth sales girls, Mercedes and Amy. Mercedes was really kind of helping us pick out what the colors were and the styles were. Amy was kind of assisting in the background and kind of bouncing some ideas off her. And it was weird. Like, I didn't plan on buying a hat.
I
I don't
didn't
think
either.
you planned on buying a hat necessarily, but Trent, being the hat connoisseur that he is with all his cowboy hats, of course, he was like, I'm buying a hat. So he starts shopping. And the longer all of us are in this room, because it is just like an upstairs room, it's not a huge place. Now, they had it downstairs. We'll get to that in a minute. But we all kind of start looking at each other like, should we all buy hats? Like, are we about to be like hat bros? I think we're about to be hat bros. And like, so we kind of made this like decision on the spur of the moment. Like, okay, that's it. Everybody's buying a hat. So, Amy starts getting more involved, and now she's helping everybody pick out, and Mercedes is working with Trent. And then we start talking to him, and we start telling him about, hey, it's your birthday. And Mercedes says, hey, do you guys want a shot? Now, I'm not trying to get her in trouble, but I'm just saying there may or may not have been some Glenlivet involved, and that's all I'll say on that. But the
Well,
really cool
hey
thing
now,
found out while
they
we were
did,
there.
she did take, we were now essentially clients of theirs, so they
We
take care
were.
of their clients very well,
They
which
did. They did.
includes, and not limited to, the consumption of some fine alcohol, which, they also had sparkling water and regular still water, but because of the celebrations, they were like, you know what, let's celebrate. So it was so cool to be able to celebrate. It was kind of the very first, like, well, not first because we had dukes and everything, but also just one of those extra little nuggets of surprises about my birthday, and just the fact that we were all together. And to your point, they were so awesome. They let us stay there. We thought we were gonna be there for maybe 30 seconds. It ended up being like 30, 45 minutes.
Oh
And
yeah.
what came from it was just, again, memories. Of course, we all have our own hats, which I thought was awesome that we got different hats. I almost got the same one as Trent, just so I can say that I have the exact one that Cillian Murphy wore as his character Tommy
Right.
Shelby from Peaky Blinders. But what Mercedes and Amy did was they looked at each and every one of us, and based on our personalities, our face shape, our skin tones, everything, and kind of what we usually wear on a daily basis, based kind of they pointed us in the right direction. And
Right.
I think we could both agree that they did an amazing job. Your hat looks
Oh
fantastic. I never thought a blue hat would look good on me, but I've been wearing this, I want to say like 80% of the time since I've been back home.
yeah.
So
It's great.
comfortable. It keeps my head warm. I love
Yeah.
it.
But they're not like hot. That's the thing. Like I have, when I played music for years, I wore a fisherman's cap,
Mhm.
and the inside edge, the brim of that hat is actually leather, and it's silk lined and everything. And don't get me wrong, it's a great wool hat. But brother, you wear that thing for 30 minutes and it's even slightly thinking about being warm,
Oh,
and you're sweating.
yeah.
I mean, you're instantly sweating because it lets no air out.
Right.
So this breathes. This has like some room. I love the shape of it. I love the pattern on it, the hound tooth
Mhm.
hound. Can't remember which one. Um, but I love that fixture and that look to it. They really did. They both kind of stepped out on a limb and they worked with each one of us individually to find the right color, the right fit. And all of us, I think, walked away with completely different fits, completely different patterns, colors, everything. But the one thing we did find out, which I thought was extremely cool, was that Bond 26,
Oh yeah.
possible front runner for James Bond, Scott Rose Marsh, just so happened to be there the day before. And if you look at his Instagram page, you will see he has actually been doing photo shoots with nothing but layered products, their shirts, their jackets, their hats. And so they could not confirm or deny that a conversation was had about Bond, but
There was something.
there was something. So that led us to believe, okay, this guy might be on to something. But needless to say, we all had a great time.
Down, of course, the Burlington Arcade. Of course, we went
Of
to the
course. Yeah.
Steel store, all the usual places that us Bond fans gravitate towards, which was really cool. And Peel was awesome. They let us see some of the Bond collection upstairs. It was getting towards the evening, and actually, we had to break up because you guys went to go, and we had a special evening planned. Mind you, this was Friday night, so we had a very special evening planned, but we had some other missions to accomplish beforehand. I know you guys went back to Duke's and had a great time there.
Yeah.
Um,
Round two.
round two, and I'm laughing, and Chris is laughing. We know why. That's for our eyes only. Um, but I also had the amazing opportunity to be invited to an exclusive event at Gray Flannel, which is kind of a smaller, made-to-measure men's and women's sartorial store in London, and David Zaritsky was showing off his brand new gorgeous homage Brosnan suit that was made by Mr. Timothy
Oh,
Everest,
did I?
who is the master cutter there.
Yeah.
And it was a great event. That's the first time that I got to meet a lot of familiar faces that I are over across the pond that I have been knowing and talking to for years, like Thomas from Fleming Never Dies on Instagram and Albia Never Dies, the amazing podcast of British culture. Daniel Gaster, got to meet that gentleman.
Right, so we are here at Great Flannel enjoying this amazing event, and I have two fellow sartorial buddies with me, and I have a couple questions. Thomas, I'll start with you.
Okay.
What is something that excites you when it comes to sartorial style?
Okay, so I really like James Bond as a starting point. If I like something on James Bond, maybe it'll be okay on me. If I don't like something on Bond, it won't look good on me. Right, so he's always dressing well, he always looks great. So it's a good thing to say browse, say Matt Space's website or montoos.com, whatever. And then maybe take a few ideas. He's had very similar outfits throughout the film, so maybe you have one that's similar to one and an accessory similar to another. So it's a great jumping off point to play around.
Love that. It's always good to have a jumping off point, and then you can branch out for different situations. And how about yourself, Mr. Daniel Gaster?
I think we're here today talking about the 30th anniversary of GoldenEye,
Yes.
and that is kind of where this journey started for me from a sartorial point of view. Is in terms of looking at a man dressing well, and just incorporating that into your life. So for me, that's the starting point for me. Is like I looked at this individual thinking he presents himself well, and it portrays confidence, and it's that aspirational of being a gentleman. I kind of think of that in terms of that is my aspirational goal, and part of that for me is dressing well for not just the environment that I'm in, but in terms of as a sign of respect, in terms of I'm making an effort to on myself in respect of whoever I'm seeing, whoever I'm meeting, and I think it gives you confidence. It gives you just the sort of ability to portray something of yourself in the environment that you're in, and I think that's just it for me. It's just, and then it's just different combinations that work, trying things. I think that's the important thing, just to try things, even if they don't work, but then you know that they don't work for you,
Right.
whereas they work for other people.
Exactly. I love that. Well, thank you.
No problem.
And again, we're here hanging out at Gray Flannel, enjoying an amazing event centered around 30 years of GoldenEye. Amazing stories, as you guys can see. These pictures and images. Just the best part for me is meeting everybody here. It's been absolutely fantastic. So shout outs to Gray Flannel. Shout outs to David Sersky of the Bond Experience for putting this all together. It's fantastic.
Amazing. Everybody else, of course, I got to see Phil again from 007 GB Club. The president, Joe was Darlington was there. Clyde, you know who you are. You're always in and about the Bond community events, and each and every person that I bumped into may not have mentioned, forgive me, but there were so many faces there that I got to hang out with, and I'm just so thankful to be able to have met them. And now, again, add them to my list of great friends that I can call upon and talk to whenever. That evening, we went to a fancy little place at the Raffles Hotel,
Mm.
Spy Bar, which was very, very special. Chris, I'll let you talk about this because you really did all the legwork and kind of organizing this event with some very special people.
So yeah, Spy Bar was kind of crazy. We had booked this out and they required a reservation. They required a down payment, of course. We got it all taken care of. We get to the building, and to say that it is hidden
Oh
is
man.
to say the least. We were up and down flights of stairs. We were in an elevator. We were racing through everywhere. We finally find this one little housekeeper who was so kind. And we're like, where's the spot bar? She like walked us down a hall, took us down a flight of steps, and took us down another hallway. And there we were. But getting into the spy bar, guys, I got to tell you, it's a special moment. It's very speakeasy. It's very low light, and then just out of nowhere, boom, there's a bar with a massive full-size Aston Martin DB5 mounted into the wall. It's a gorgeous spectacle to see. Cocktails were supreme. They brought everything you could think of. And we even had a bottle of 007, the new champagne from Bollinger that was just released. We had a bottle of that at the tables. We all got to try a little bit of that. And we got to meet some really great people because guess who showed up? That's right. In droves, we had 007 Road to a Million cast members. We had Ricky, we had Noddy, we had Dan, we had Dylan. Like, we had some of the key players from the show up, show out, and had a great time getting to know those guys. I mean, they're so down to earth. They're so kind. They're everyday people, just like you and I. I mean, they couldn't have been nicer. Caught up with Ricky quite a bit myself. I know, Chris, you were talking more with Naughty, correct?
Yeah, it was just amazing what they did. And unfortunately, we have to be careful here because they are still under contract with Amazon, so they can't
Right.
really share too much. I mean, so they definitely want to respect that. But at the same time, it was just like you and I talking. We all became really close friends. And now I can honestly say, after this trip, we've made some lifelong friends. And
We did.
anytime that we're in the area or they even plan on coming to our neck of the woods, they want to have dinner. They want to have something to where we get to hang out. They were truly, genuinely amazing people. And you sometimes you talk to people that do reality TV shows or whatnot, and the production and the travel and everything kind of changes a little bit, kind of who they are. That was not the case for each one of these gentlemen. Were as kind, as humble, and so exciting to talk to. So shout outs to all of them for hanging out. We even got to see them again, some of them at the Cue the Music show pre and post
Yep.
show as well, and got to catch up with them, seeing them all decked out, all sharp. But we'll get
Yeah.
into that a little bit later. But yeah, no, we went to the Spy Bar. It was amazing. I think that was such a great moment, great time of just like, camaraderie. And again, Chris, shout outs to kind of organizing that on your end because I know you did a lot of the legwork for that. And that was a
My
very,
pleasure.
very special moment for me personally. So that brings us to uh it would be Saturday morning,
Yes.
where we did a little bit of some location hunting and location thanks
And
to like the
sleeping in
bomb map.
for the
Yep.
first time. We slept in that day.
We did. Yes, we did. So we were
Oh,
up.
hold on, hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa. We got to talk about the VQ, the
Oh,
restaurant attached to the St. Giles Hotel, which is where we stayed. The VQ is the restaurant in the basement that is attached to our hotel. And when I tell you guys, this is a 24-hour restaurant. They serve alcohol, they serve food 24/7. They were our saving grace on so many nights. And we once we found out it was there, I think we ate breakfast there every single day after.
oh yeah. I mean,
It was so good.
the staff recognized us. We
Yeah,
became regulars at that point, and they were so awesome.
so great. Cute little old Russian lady or German. I think she was Russian. She she was so funny though. She, hey, what do you want? You want this? Okay, I bring.
Yeah.
She run off, bring it back.
She loved
Okay,
us. It
good.
was great. It felt like it was eating at grandma's house. It was
It
great.
was. She came up and like she kept like rubbing my arm. She was like, "Good to see you. Talk soon." And
Yeah.
she'd go off. So
Out of the locations that we went to, Chris, pick one. Which was your favorite? I know it's hard. We went to, of course, Big Ben. We went to the
oh
Die Another Day door. We went to the Lazenby Post, and of course, walking along everywhere else. We walked past along the Westminster
yeah,
Bridge, all that stuff. So,
it
which
was
one
a
was
big
your
day.
favorite?
It was a big day for sure. I can tell you that I know Big Ben was easily for me
Mhm.
the biggest spectacle. Just for the sheer size.
Yeah.
You're not if you're not ready for it, you're not ready for it. It's way bigger than you think. All the pictures and everything. They try to, of course, capture the grandiose that it is, but it really is something to be seen.
Oh yeah.
Uh, the detail work on the Westminster Bridge, and seeing that, and it's crazy because when we were there, they were actually having the Gaza protest.
Right. Yeah.
That was going on where they were lighting off smoke grenades and they were having, I mean, they had full blown drum circles,
Mhm.
chant circles with bullhorns,
Yeah.
talking about, all of the
It was
movements that they were
tons of
pushing.
people. It was
Yeah.
tons of people.
I mean, the whole bridge was taken
Yeah.
up. You couldn't go from like one side of the bridge, you couldn't walk across to the other side.
I remember the Big Ben location too because that was
Yeah,
also shout outs to idiot Bond fan
that's
Elon
right.
that we met for the first time, and
That's right. Elon.
that was so awesome to he kind of tagged along. He shared with us his story. He actually surprised everybody. He wasn't going to actually announce that he was in London until he was actually there. He
Right.
just released his podcast of his journey, so be sure to check that out. I'll even link it in the description below so you can listen to it. But I gotta say my favorite was the Lazenby post because I mean that was such an iconic moment for any Bond.
Yeah.
And
Heavy moment there. Heavy moment.
yeah, no doubt. I mean, you realize how the significance of that from a Bond fan's perspective. And I will
Right.
say this: I actually wrote something up. It's a little cheesy, but I'm gonna write it. I'm gonna share it right now because I looked at the post that I did, and I know there's people walking around. We were kind of not really on a time crunch, but every on one of us wanted our pictures taken at the post. So I kind of went up there, did my thing. I felt like I was Bond. I came down, looked at it, compared. Didn't even look at the comparison. Usually we usually look at the real photo, the first photo, and I didn't even do that. I looked at it. I'm like, I butchered the hell out of this picture. I look so awkward. I was on the wrong side, wrong pose.
Oh, I was on the wrong side. Yeah.
But here's the thing. After I came home and I looked at it and I realized and it hit me. So I wrote this down because I didn't want to forget it. The Lazenby lamppost picture, yeah, I completely butchered the photo. However, I think it is a beautiful representation of exactly what the idea of Bond is and how he plays in our individual lives. I mean, like think about it. Whoever the new actor will be stepping into the world's most iconic role, yet the actor's individuality will bring out a new dynamic interpretation of the character, which in turn gives us a Bond that sticks out amongst the others. That's exactly what the Lazenby picture does that I posted represents, as well as my that one Bond Guide channel. It's a one-off, unique interpretation of an iconic and universal character. So, I mean, let's be honest. We're not James Bond, but the
Right.
fact that we take something from the character and make it our own, and in turn it makes our own adventures come alive. I mean, you this whole trip was a life trip. This is something we'll for always remember for a lifetime.
Right.
And so that kind of hit home for me when I was standing there and looking at that picture, and it will hit home for me whenever I look at that picture. So, one of those things. It's just one of those big life moments, and yeah, maybe cheesy, whatever, but I thought that was a perfect way to kind of fix everything in my mind, and I'm happy that I had that moment for sure. What happened that night? I think we went somewhere, right?
We had this little place called Morpeth Arms that
Oh
we all
boy.
visited for London Gatherall. And yeah, I mean, this was the bar itself. We pretty much spilled out onto the street all night
Yeah.
because we were initially supposed to go to the Hippodrome. Unfortunately, the Hippodrome, which is where we went last year, which was beautiful, but they were under construction this year, so we couldn't go. So David worked his magic, got us over to Morpeth, which the great thing about that is directly across the street
Oh yeah.
is the MI6 building. And that's where me and David filmed our video that I did recently on the channel. And I'm telling you guys, this standing in front of that building, it gave me goosebumps. And being able to spend the majority of the day there, because at one point, when we got to Big Ben and the Westminster Bridge and the Brosnan Door and the Lazenby Pole, and then we went over and saw the Eye. We were standing there and we were talking with Elon, and Thomas was with us. Um,
Cooper Ness.
and,
Shout out to Cooper.
I'm sorry. Oh, and Cooper, of course. Yeah, Cooper met up with us as well. And so we had a nice group of people with us hanging out. Trent was there. And then we all kind of had to break off because he had been walking around all morning. He spent the entire morning checking out all the spots when nobody was there. I think he said he was there at like 7 a.m. And so he had been there all morning. His feet were done. So he's like, I'm going to go back to the hotel. I had to go meet David at the MI6 building in Morpeth Arms. And then you had another event to go to as well.
Right.
So we all kind of split up and broke off at that point. And the nice thing, I know while we were over by the Eye, I got some really cool shots because that Ferris wheel is extremely large.
Yeah.
And standing underneath it, I mean, you feel really, really small. And I can see why they charge what they charge to go up on it. But getting over there, I had a nice walk. I had to walk back across the bridge, down through a couple streets to get down to Morpeth Arms. And that night at that event, I mean, guys, it was Gatherall. If you haven't been to a Gatherall yet, I cannot tell you, find one. I don't care if it's the Golden Eye. I don't care if it's London. I don't care if it's New Jersey, Pennsylvania, where they're happening once or twice a year at this point. We're all getting together. And I got to meet, just like Chris, so many great people in the community. For the first time, I got to meet Martine Beswick, which I think you did as well
Yes.
at
Yes.
another event.
I did,
Yeah,
yes.
with Carolyn
That was
Monroe.
fun. Before I went to Morpeth Arms, I was also invited to the Globetrotter 60th anniversary of Thunderball event, which I was
Right.
invited by 007 GB, which thank you so much for inviting me. It was very awesome to meet up with everybody. I got to literally hang out with some amazing Bond girls and got to see how the whole idea of the 60th anniversary of Thunderball and Globetrotter came to be. Views from Mark did a great job hosting. And then from there, I was actually a little late because I forgot all my that one Bond guy merch, so I had to go run to the hotel, and that's why I was a little late. But we eventually got back to Morpeth Arms and had an amazing night. We had some friends that weren't even part of the Bond community that we met on our adventures come and join us into the Bond activities, and they fell in love with
That's
the
right.
idea too, which I love because we're introducing new people unintentionally, you know.
That's right.
Um,
Shout out to David, Alex, and Melissa.
Yes. Shout outs to those guys are awesome. Shout outs to David, to Ritsky, the Bond Experience for putting that together. Shout outs to Joe Darlington for that was also another book launch that he did for the second edition of Being James Bond.
That's right.
Congratulations,
Yep.
Joe, for that. It was just a great event culminating around the celebration of a lot of things. Martin Mulder from the on the tracks of 007 celebrating 30 years of
Yeah.
adventures, and he even
And
has
he did a whole speech
yeah, that's right.
outside on the street.
I have 150 of these cards that says you got to get this now. Now the it's not ready yet. It was almost done. The app itself is ready and it works.
Moving on though to the next big day, because we were out late that night too.
Oh boy.
But the next day, of course, is Cue the Music. And we had tickets to both the pre-party and the after party at the Waldorf Hotel. Absolutely gorgeous hotel. Probably, I would say, the nicest venue I've seen for a pre or after party event that I've personally attended. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nice spread. They had casino games. They had food. They had drinks. You could, at one point in time, you could play GoldenEye on a big screen.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, the bars were everywhere. They walked in, they gave you like a free little $10 bill that you could go and turn in for chips.
Again, we got to meet up with friends that we met along the way. A couple of the Road to the Million guys came back and hung out, got to get connected again with Alex and Rob, who were also part of
Yes.
season 2. I know you got to hang out with Jen as well, season 1 winner, which was
That's right.
awesome. She brought her
Yep.
dad, which was absolute joy to chat with.
Same.
And then we went to the concert, which was an absolutely gorgeous venue at the Theater Royale Drury Lane. It was gorgeous. I was in the third row. Oh my gosh, Chris, how would you feel about being there?
Oh, the history, you could feel it in the building. I mean, just it's another one of those venues you walk in and you don't realize how rich it is, how deep it is, and you turn around and you look up, because I was in row G. I think you were in row like C.
Yeah.
So I wasn't too much further back. I remember at one point we turned around and looked at each other and made eye contact, like, oh my God.
Right.
We're
and
so excited.
that's only because, oh my goodness. Well, they're going to be releasing, I've heard a video of the whole concert, so I don't want to spoil too much for everybody, but needless to say, it's Cue the Music. I mean, they're absolutely amazing, second to none. But the biggest thing was the announcement at the end, and that's why Chris and I turned and looked at each other and literally said some bad words, mouthed some bad words, because we were so excited. Chris, what did they announce?
Oh my God. I mean, I don't know, probably just the announcement of this one guy. I mean, you probably know him. He's done a couple movie scores. David Arnold, does that ring a bell? Maybe that's why. Because yeah, Warren had kept this a secret from all of us all the way since January. And shout out to Warren, by the way, with Cue the Music.
Yes.
This man works tirelessly to put on not only these shows, he does the production, he handles all the merch stuff, he handles all of the email responses. Like, huge shout out to Warren. We would not have near the entertainment factor that Cue the Music is without him. So thank you, Warren. But yeah, towards the end, Warren comes out on stage and he's like, hey, I want to let everybody know that, we didn't know how we were going to top this year. We had the 3 money punnies and we love the money punnies. Like, nobody had ever thought to bring all 3 of them women in the same room for some weird reason. And we got that, thankfully. And he said, but next year, and David set him up for this too. He's like, well, how are you going to outdo yourself, man? He's like, well, I've looked up to this guy for a really long time. He's been a mentor to me. He's been an inspiration to me. Please welcome. And I'm sitting in the seat, Chris, and the whole time he's like having this talk, he's going, okay, it's the guy who inspires me and does all this stuff. I'm sitting there going, no. He is not about to bring out David Arnold. He is not about. He said, please welcome to the stage, David Arnold. And I lost my ever-living mind. Like, I let out a death metal scream in excitement, because it was kind of like the peak of the entire week of London that we were there. This was like the big moment, the big surprise, the reveal. And to see him walk out on stage 40 feet, probably for you, like 15 feet away from you, it was something to be said. I mean, this is going to be huge because not only is he coming next year, they're going to be doing a huge celebration surrounding all five of his scores, starting from Tomorrow Never Dies all the way through Quantum of Solace. And the big thing is David Arnold is going to be joining them on stage to perform. So tickets are going to go on sale in January. I know I joked with everybody there, and Chris, you know this. I said, I'm pretty sure Warren at this point works for Delta because he just sold so many tickets,
Yeah,
so many airline
yeah,
tickets. Because I wasn't planning on coming back to London next year,
yeah.
but I can't miss this.
It was amazing, dude. Like, wow, the amount of Bond royalty we saw on this trip was
Oh,
insane. I had an
the roof.
opportunity to hang out with Naomi Harris right before we went to the after party. Such an angel. She didn't have to say yes, but she did. Wished me happy birthday. Amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, that picture is pinned on my Instagram profile for a reason. You know, it's a huge moment for me as a fan.
it
But
is.
all that to say, dude, what a weekend. What a week. What an
Yeah,
amazing trip. I know as we start to close and everybody's going to be flooded with content, I'm sure if not already by the time this video comes out with everything that's been going on, you guys get the idea. It was a spectacular show. The
yeah,
biggest thing for me was the community. The biggest thing was meeting the people because I told you at the beginning of the trip, I don't care. I don't want to buy a suit. I don't want need to buy a watch or anything crazy down there. I want to spend my money on having great memories made with people of the Bond
yeah.
community, whether I was meeting them for the first time or meeting them after not seeing them for the 3 years I haven't been back over across the pond. And I can say that I left, to quote Samantha Bond, that my heart was full and my soul was filled with just the immense love and just camaraderie and everything that had to do with Bond, from the side quests to almost getting kicked out of Pinewood to the laughs to the cries to the cheers, everything in between. You can't make this Bond fan from Sacramento, California any more happy. And I
No.
just want to thank you, Chris, for taking part of that. Thank you for taking part of this, being part of this discussion. And then thank you to everybody for just whether it was a brief hello to a full-on conversation. I mean, this trip was truly special. Adventure.
I mean, I would back up everything you just said. I think you really nailed it on the head. It was spectacular. It was the community is what makes these trips, and that's why I tell people get to a gather all, get
Mhm.
to something, get to find a way to get to an event because it is that camaraderie. It is the energy that is in the room when you're with all of us because you're gonna make some good friends. You know, I still talk with Jen from season one, Road to the Million, like every other day. Like her and I are just friends now. like, and you quickly realize with some of these people, like Naughty and Ricky and Dan and Dylan, and even like Martine Beswick and your experience with
Mhm.
Naomi Harris, these are real people.
Yeah.
They're just real people. Have they done some spectacular things? Have they gone on some bigger adventures than us? Yes. But when you get them into the room that you're in, you realize quickly they're just people.
Yeah.
And having these connection points is what solidifies the memories and makes all the travel, all the money, all of the struggles throughout the year just vanish and it makes it all worth it. And
Yeah.
I can't wait to do this all over again next year with you, my friend.
Thank
So here's to 2026 and the Bond community thriving while we starve for a film.
Oh, hey, this is just the beginning. And you know what,
It
Chris?
is.
I am just so blessed to have had you as a travel buddy. And I mean, it's the first of, I keep telling everybody, this is the first of many. This is just the beginning of all the adventures to come. I really do feel that is just the beginning. So whatever may come, I know it's going to be exciting. It's going to be great. And hey, this is one hell of a video. And I hope you guys watching enjoyed this. I hope you guys kind of had a little taste of what it was like to go on an adventure with all of the side quests and everything. So I'm going to close with this, guys. There is a wise man that once said, never say no to adventure. And we will, and I can attest to Chris to this. That's the way we'll live. I'll also link Chris, the Bond Reports YouTube and Instagram below, so be sure to check him out. Follow him if you're not already. But my friend, this is not farewell, but I will see you on the next adventure. Thank you for joining me on this.
Thank you for having me, and until we meet again, my friend.
Until then. What an adventure. That was truly a trip of a lifetime. I said this once and I'll say this again. It couldn't have been possible without the Bond community. That's what drives me to do what I do, to spend time with people that are genuine, like-minded, and ultimately lifelong friends, which I made a ton on this trip. So every single person I interacted with, please, let's stay in touch. Let's keep staying strong till whenever we get to Bond 26 and beyond, and get to enjoy this wonderful adventure called life together. So that being said, that's it for this one. If you stood all the way to the end, thank you so much. Be sure to check the description below for all the things that we mentioned in the video. And until next time, I'm Christopher Morales, that one Bond guy. Take care.